Yes, I put an egg in here. I put an egg in the gacha machine. Let's see. It never picks anything except for, like, these 4, which is weird because the list is up to, like, I think 13 things in this gacha machine, and we only ever get 4. It's supposed to be randomized, and it technically is, because the list that it pulls from, like, but it's weird, because instant popularity, 4-leaf clover, stress be gone, and go, 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 they're like 4 in a row, but they're in the middle of the list, so I'm like, what happens here? Like, what happened here? It's supposed to be random, but it just picks the same 4 that's in the middle. Go home, mix it up, you're drunk. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Just gonna go back to the shadows of work. Fair enough. Fair enough. I hope everyone is doing well. Whoops, no, that's not what I want. Read a random line from file. That is what it said. Let's try re-adding it just in case, but you know. Maybe different now? Let's see. Daily potion. What, did I break it? Oh, that's right. It's not an exclamation point. I'm dumb. Ignore me. Still the 4-leaf clover, huh? Goodness gracious. Egg! There it is! I got the egg. Alright, so now it is actually pulling through from the proper list that has like a whole bunch of new stuff in there instead of pulling through the pulling the 4 that I originally had for whatever reason, because how many are we up to now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are now 14 things you can pull from. There has been for a while, but it was not Mix It Up was not pulling from the right list, I guess. You know, sometimes just re-adding stuff helps. So we've got Smarty 3, Sleep Tight, Good Night, Wakey Bakey, Eagle Eyes, Locking In, It's Just Like Tea, Liquid Smoke Bomb, then, you know, Instant Popularity, 4-leaf clover, Stress Be Gone, Go Go Go, the classics, and then a Money Tree, Courage of 1,000, and Egg. Egg potion, huh? I wonder who inspired that. Yeah. Ranger was just like egg, and I'm like, you know what? We'll throw a random egg in the gacha machine. Have fun. Let's see if you can find it. But yeah. Oh my gosh. It is already Tuesday. Time is flying. If the servers haven't gone down for maintenance yet, they will be soon. New Genshin region coming technically tonight, but mostly tomorrow. It's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna like try and log in for my dailies in the first thing in the morning and be like, I can't touch anything. I can't go to Nod Cry. I've been wanting to like experience some of like more Genshin stuff with you guys, so we'll see how long I can hold out not doing story. Famous last words. And what else has happened today? Oh yeah. So, how do I explain this? So I don't know what the US equivalent would be, but in Canada we have this thing called Statistics Canada, where like they compile a bunch of statistics about a whole bunch of things, like surveys and stuff for the government. I got selected to do it's like household spending one. They straight up sent me like a booklet to write all of my expenses in for a certain period of time, and then I have to mail it back. Like, that's crazy. Like, I'm gonna have to teach Statistics Canada what gotcha is. Like, please don't call me to make me explain what this is. It's like, it's an in-game purchase, like cosmetic. Sure. Not cosmetic, but you know, whatever. Close enough. And then, yeah, was talking on Discord about my laundry woes because they decided they were going to do maintenance on all of the laundry rooms in this building at the same time. For context, they have one laundry room on each floor of this building, and like they're all technically centrally located, like they're all like stacked on top of each other. So I mean, I guess it makes sense. You shut off the water for one, you would shut off the water for most of them, but I'm like, man. God forbid you're like me and you wait until you don't have any clothes left before you do laundry. So yeah, I hand washed some stuff to try and get me through to the weekend, but man. My poor back. I had done a workout first thing this morning too, so my legs are killing me too. I decided to take the stairs to throw out the garbage without fully comprehending how bad it was. And it's like, oh, this was a mistake. This was a big old mistake. Also, for those of y'all who play Grand Blue and you're in United Fight, good luck. I decided not to stream it this time around just because my brain capacity is not there for it. But I'm doing it on the side. We're fighting fairy princesses this time. Reminds me of the fairy cards from Shadowverse. I'm sure there's one that looks very similar to the to the fairy princess that we're fighting. Now that I think about it, I was like, when I was little for Halloween, I always wanted to be a fairy princess. I'm not sure why in particular that was the thing for me. Because, like, sure, Tinkerbell and Peter Pan was around, but she did have, like, you know, her 12 friends and stuff when I was little. So I'm not sure where I got the whole fairy princess fascination from. probably some forgotten 90s TV show that I don't remember. Oh god, yeah. Related, because I do surveys to like earn a little bit of extra pocket change, because the website I use, they'll pay out like 100 points gives you $10 and they'll pay it out to your PayPal. And they were like, oh yeah, what sports or like brands or whatever do you recognize? And Beyblade was on the list. I'm like, I mean, I guess it's technically a sport. I've never seen them put Beyblade on there, though. You're gonna blow? Yeah, I'm surprised did you force get it or did I get lucky? I got lucky. Because I'm the same as you guys. I can just go in and redeem my channel points. It's just as, you know, the owner of the channel, I technically have infinite. But I just clicked a few times to see if I was gonna get one of the not 4 that we always get. And hey, it was the egg. But hey, there's proof. There's proof now that there are others in there. I read up all 14, including the egg. So if it works as it's supposed to now, we should get some other stuff other than that 4 that we've always been getting. You inspired a potion, you're so happy? Yeah! There's been a few that like indirectly inspired you, were indirectly inspired by you guys. Like the eagle eyes in the locking in one were specifically because of like, you know, FPS and like League and stuff like that, like those games that you guys play. And then like, yeah, you guys have chronic sleep problems, so I made a potion that's basically like knock you the fuck out. Egg potion, I imagine it is, so there's A, it could be like, you know, think like, you know, an egg pudding kind of thing. Or, you know, you just get a hard-boiled egg that pops out instead. It's funnier if I just put egg. It's like, what's an egg potion? I don't know. It's just an egg. Just a magic egg. Alright. Let's do it! Let's go! Nah, we won't break out Moonbeam this time. I was like, do I want to break out the boy, girl, the they? Yes, so last time we found many dead people. The adults are still trying to figure out who in their entirety died because they found Shannon. But they haven't found anyone else. Also, there's a funky smell coming from the boiler room. And based on what we know from another timeline, that means they put Kinzo in the oven. I'm only half joking about the oven. It means they probably put him in the incinerator. Yeah, last time it was just a whole bunch of meta layer stuff with Battler finding the strength to continue his fight against Beatrice. Now maybe we'll finally get back to the family drama. Forget what the adults expected, at least for us kids. These were supposed to be a fun couple days where the cousins deepened their friendship. However, when we broke up, there was an unbelievably cruel reality waiting for us. George Aniki and Jessica were crying over Shanan-chan and Kanan-kun's deaths. Right now, everyone who was alive had gathered in the lobby on the first floor of the guest house. There were 12 people there. Unbelievable, right? There were 18 until yesterday, and in one night, a third of that number had lost their lives. I eventually sobered up from my agitation and, along with my lack of sleep from being woken up so early in the morning, I was beginning to feel a faint sense of unreality. I want to think this is some kind of bad dream. My cheap escapism keeps telling me that over and over. Maria had gone back to sleep on the sofa Rosa was sitting on. Rather than her having nerves of steel, she probably genuinely hadn't had enough sleep. The adults were holding items from what was apparently grandfather's collection. Rudolph with that gun? Terrifying. Also, that is like the first time we've seen his wedding ring. Like, of course, it makes sense he has one, but it's the first time we saw it. Short-barreled Winchester rifles, apparently relics from a time when he'd been obsessed with westerns. There were 4 guns altogether. Oh, how convenient, one for each child. Those had been split up among the 4 siblings, Uncle Klaus, Aunt Ava, my dad, and Aunt Rosa. Paper boxes filled with bullets lay on the table, and the siblings were silently loading them. It's a little scary, even now, touching one of these. I get the feeling Dad'll yell, "Don't touch that!" and hit me. Well, isn't that great? They've all got silver wedding rings, how typical. No matter how much you touch them, you won't be hit again. I can't believe it. To think that father would meet this kind of end. Well, I never did expect Kinzo to die normally in his bed. But even so, it is too horrible. Hey. I wonder if that really was father. I think it might be a different person's corpse, used as a substitute to trick us. No, it was father, without a doubt. You saw his toes, right? Generally speaking, there aren't many humans with 6 toes on both feet. But that doesn't mean that such people don't exist. I've heard that polydactyly isn't that rare a disease. He was a man who liked large-scale tricks, right? He might have obtained a corpse from somewhere that had the same number of toes on both feet. Ridiculous! Why would he do something like that? I'd agree if it was a normal person. But this is father we're talking about. Hi, Drakon! How you doing? How's your night and fight? You can't be sure Kirie-san is talking nonsense. After all, burning a corpse makes it hard to identify. Well, I still got about an hour or 2 stuck at work, so I'm gonna play my Tento mix and lock in. You can do it! Still, there should be a few ways to examine him from his teeth and bone structure. If the police investigated, of course they'd be able to know whose body it was right away. The problem is that we need a telephone engineer more than the police right now. Nightmare 140 seconds? Ooh, very nice. I haven't been keeping track of my time. It takes me about 6 to 9 turns to do Nightmare 150. Because it depends on whether or not, we dodge. Do stray strong? Oh yeah, I'll be fine. I'm being dragged along by Arias's crew. We're in A rank, so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do my best. I'm just riding everyone's coattails. the boats probably won't come in this typhoon. So, will they arrive tomorrow? Same, I want the skin. Yeah! I still need to get the last uncap for the original skin, and then I can try getting the new one that just came out. Amadis! Hello! Welcome in! Yeah, we just started. We just switched over to the game like 5 minutes ago, so yeah, you're right on time. They haven't done anything except the kids woke up and found out who died. It's all the servants. So Jessica and George are very upset. And the siblings are just talking about whatever while they're loading bullets in Grandpa's guns. So will they arrive tomorrow? Most likely the boat will come again at 9 tomorrow. Then I believe we will be able to contact the police. It's the same for us and the culprit. Until the typhoon passes, the island will be closed off. Just from my parents' conversation, you could probably figure out the general gist. But let's explain the situation anyway. Ooh, this track is good. Gasp. I mean, the OST in this game has always been great, but I feel like Chapter 3, it's really started to pick up. Like, you know, they've really doubled down. Hang on. I'm gonna get my list up again. That shows, like, the summary with the different tracks. So this one is Dead Angle, I believe. Hi, Jambola! Because the first two that show up are Voiceless, the Cousins Wake Up, and Dead Angle, Results of the Investigation. So that seems about right. First, early that morning, in various places throughout the mansion, a total of 6 corpses, including Grandfather and all the servants, had been found, one after another. First, Grandfather had been in the boiler room, completely burnt. Ooh, extra crispy. Coincidentally, I made air fryer chicken for dinner. The servants had died, each shut up in the rooms throughout the mansion that had magic circles drawn on them. The cause of death for the servants was uncertain. But according to Dr. Nanjo, there was a high likelihood that they had been stabbed by something like a spear, or possibly shot with a gun. That was why the adults had started arming themselves with Winchesters. Just kind of thinking about how perfect it is that they're arming themselves with Winchesters, because do you guys know about the Winchester Mansion? So basically, for those who don't, it's a real place in the US you can go to. But basically, the heir to the Winchester rifle, like, family got really paranoid about ghosts of the people who were killed by Winchester rifles coming to get her. It was like, you know, that period where mysticism was, like, really, really popular. And, like, you know, she consulted a medium and they told her to build a house and make the house with, like, false doors and hallways that lead to nowhere and doors that open, like, to nothing. And, like, just keep building. Never stop building it. So that's what she did until, like, you know, she died. And now it's, like, an actual tourist attraction you can go to. So them having Winchester rifles in this house in this mansion in the middle of nowhere that was built by like this eccentric dude. It's very fitting. And what made the situation even more chaotic was the fact that the telephones had become unusable. It was unknown if lightning had caused them to break down, or if the culprit had broken them. You didn't know that? Yeah! It was one of those things I picked up from like a TV show when I was younger. In the 90s, early 2000s, it was like decently popular to like set TV shows. Like have like that mansion appear in like one episode of a show, especially if it was about paranormal stuff. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's so similar. I'm like, this can't be a coincidence. Ryukishi doesn't do coincidences. At any rate, since contact with the outside had been cut off, we couldn't reach the police. So until the typhoon passes and a boat comes tomorrow morning, we'll have to protect ourselves. After all, Rokenjima is now isolated by the typhoon. And just as we're stuck on the island, so is the culprit. It seemed that the adults had stayed up all night holding the family conference in the mansion's dining hall the whole time. And yet, the crime had occurred in the mansion. So right when the adults had been in an uproar over money, the murderer had been killing under the same roof. They say Aunt Natsuki's been strict about locking the doors and windows at night. And yet, some suspicious person had entered and left the mansion. The adults had decided that the inside of the mansion was too large to be safe. So they had pulled out the guns and moved to the guest house where we had been. Which brings us to the present. You know, somehow this is better than cramming everyone into the parlor, arguably. Shoving all the bodies into one room versus being like, you know, let's just take over the guest house. Which brings us to the present. We've barely seen any, like, photos of what the inside of the guest house is supposed to look like. We've seen like the bedrooms and like an entranceway, but not this like parlor area. George Aniki had begged to see Shannon-chan's corpse, but the adults had refused, saying that he mustn't do so until the police arrived. That wasn't just because they wanted to seal all the rooms to preserve the scene. After all, the culprit who had killed 6 people was wandering about the mansion. To the Ushinomiya family right now, the mansion that should have been their home was now a danger zone that an unknown murderer could enter and leave at will. After all, it's a huge mansion. There are plenty of blind spots and dark places, and it's too vast to guarantee absolute safety with this number of people. Relatively speaking, the guest house was much smaller. It had 2 above-ground stores, something like 10 or so rooms. Apparently it had originally been constructed to serve as a small hotel, as part of the plan to turn this island into a resort. So it was easier to know what was going on everywhere inside it, and it'd be easier to keep safe. It made for a good place to hole up in. Also, it was extremely likely that this mass murder of 6 people was a game. After all, the culprit had proclaimed so in a letter. I heard that a Western-style envelope with the family crest, just like the one Maria claimed to have received from Beatrice yesterday, had been found in the boiler room where grandfather's corpse had been discovered. This was what the letter said. So, there will be no misunderstandings. The game I seek is for everyone to try and solve the riddle of the epitaph. Not for you to try and catch me. If you don't solve the riddle, the pitiful sacrifices will further increase in number. It would be wiser to spend your time solving the epitaph instead of searching for me. If no one can solve the riddle, no one will survive. If a person appears who can miraculously solve it, I will give them all the gold of the Golden Lands, the Ushinomiya family headship, and all of my power. I was the one who succeeded the Ushinomiya family headship after Kinzo-san. I look forward to seeing who will succeed to that headship after me. The Golden Witch, Beatrice. The riddle of the epitaph was that one. A straight epitaph written by the portrait of the witch on display in the hall of the mansion. Grandfather was the one who had it written, and the person who solved it would, supposedly, be given the inheritance or the hidden gold or something like that. Ever since it was first put on display there several years ago, the relatives had secretly tried to solve that riddle despite saying on the surface that the whole idea was silly. However, up until today, no one had solved it. We were once again being urged to solve that unintelligible riddle. And this time, we were faced with the threat that we'd all be killed if we didn't solve it. If that wasn't a game, what else could it be? Bold opinion that we should search the premises for the culprit did come up once. However, there was a good chance they were armed, and there might not just be one of them. Ah yes, Beatrice and her many cronies. While they may have been able to kill more than 6 people, they had stopped at 6. The opinion that won out in the end was that we should avoid needlessly antagonizing the culprit and hole up in a safe place while we waited for the police to arrive. After the adults carefully checked that the doors and windows in the guest house were locked, they set up camp in the lobby. As they loaded their guns to distract themselves from the tension, their expressions showed that they were already fatigued from this long day, which had barely begun. Yeah, y'all didn't sleep. And now you have firearms? What could possibly go wrong? There was nothing for me to do. Now, all I could do was be taught how to use a gun, to prepare for the off chance of something happening that led to an excess of guns. That's fine. Just obediently stay there, me and the rest of you. 6 people in the beginning again. And this time, it's grandfather and all the servants put together. Most likely, that child has carefully studied your moves from the last game, and has made an optimal move by taking the pieces you were most likely to suspect from the start. That makes sense. That was true both last time and the time before that. The servants, who know everything about the mansion and walk around with keys, always fall into the most suspicious category of people. A good example in the last game would be Jessica's closed room. If I'd only accepted that a servant was the culprit, that wouldn't even have been a closed room. And so, that child went straight for them, probably to block off a method of escape you'd be likely to attempt sooner or later. Bieto already proclaimed and read that there were no more than 18 people on this island. In other words, it's time to give up on that. Now, I've got to suspect one of the 18. That child will probably come at you by stealing the pieces for all the 18, while also making an appearance as a 19th person who shouldn't exist. For then, you would be forced to accept that your opponent is a witch. After all, now that the intimidation approach has failed, trying to force you to surrender by showing you magic, the only remaining option is a frontal attack. Perfect. Bluffing won't work anymore. Be careful. Deception is what witches are best at. No matter what your opponent says or shows you, it will not be able to threaten the truth that you believe in. Don't forget that. Sure, as if I'd fall for the same moves over and over. Come on out, Beatrice. Let's get started. I am already seated at the table of the contest. And my turn is already complete. This is a new track as well. Answer. To think we would end up having Madame as our foe. This will not be easy, milady. Our moves will be read through. I care not. Should probably care at least a little. By now, teachers' moves are all old-fashioned classics. There is nothing to fear. So just what moves can you make beyond the classics I taught you? I look forward to seeing, Beatrice. You okay with that, Spatler? Can someone who denies witches really accept a witch as a strategist? Your stupid provocation is pointless. This is my advisor. No, my second. That doesn't change one bit that this is a fist fight between you and me. I understand. One as wobbly as yourself probably needs training wheels on his bicycle. Do as you like. Come, let us begin. It's your turn. Ori no turn! Draw! Oh, this is another good track. Wow. Chapter 3 is just full of bangers. Let's begin with the reconstruction of the crime scene. Virgilia, quickly please. The first corpse discovered was Shauna's. She was found in the parlor on the first floor of the mansion. The door and the windows were locked, and a closed room was established. Bieto, I need some details. Let's reconfirm the definition of a closed room. Indeed. The term closed room refers to a room where the inside and the outside are completely cut off from each other. Naturally, it will be impossible to even affect things across that boundary line, much less enter or escape across it. This includes an all-inclusive denial of the existence of hidden doors as well as all possibility of intervention from the outside. Henceforth, this shall be referred to as Beatrice's closed room definition. Let's focus in a bit. How do you define all possibility of intervention from the outside? I refer to all types of direct intervention from the outside, such as using a fishing line or a long, thin rod. In conclusion, there are no gaps in the door and windows through which such tricks will work. I wonder about that. Even if there wasn't a gap, you should be able to interfere with radio waves like with a remote control, right? Very well. I'll add to this definition that interference due to radio waves and related methods of remote control shall be impossible. There's also an extension telephone in the parlor. A device connected to that wouldn't count as remote control, right? The phones are already unusable, are they not? Ah, whatever. I'll include that too. All direct and indirect methods of interfering with the inside of the closed room from the outside of the room are impossible. What about a voice or an arm? Those should be able to interfere from the outside without someone entering the room, right? Even though it's a closed room, it probably isn't impossible for someone to knock or call out. The closed room definition does not cover whether transmission of intent across the boundary is possible or not. In other words, you can make it so your definition includes the blockage of all methods of communication with the outside. That is indeed the case. Understood. So, Shannon-chan's parlor satisfies, Beatrice's closed room definition, right? Correct. Closed room definition understood. Continue, Virgilia. Yes. Shannon's corpse was in possession of one master key. The relatives who discovered her collected this. Beato, repeat it. How many master keys this time? The same as last time. There are 5, one for each servant. Which means this still isn't a closed room. There are still 4 master keys left. It just means that after Shannon-chan was murdered, one of the other 4 keys was locked in. Or sorry, one of the other 4 keys locked it. Correct. And it wasn't only a master key that was found. Yes. Alongside the corpse, there was a Western envelope with the family crest. Instead of a letter, the key to a guest room on the 2nd floor was inside it. Key to a 2nd floor guest room. The only key other than the master key that can open the door to that 2nd floor guest room. Is that definition correct? Indeed, there is no problem. And unlike the master keys, only one of those exists. In other words, apart from the 5 master keys, there will only be one key that can unlock certain rooms. In other words, this is a message telling them to go to the 2nd floor guest room next. So the adults moved to the 2nd floor guest room, right? Yes. The door to the 2nd floor guest room was locked, and a magic circle was drawn on it. The relatives unlocked it with the key they had found near Shannon's corpse. Inside, Kumasawa's corpse was discovered. It was a closed room. One that satisfied Beatrice's closed room definition. Kumasawa was in possession of one master key. The relatives collected this. And, like in Shannon's case, there was a Western envelope discovered alongside it. Inside was the key to the 3rd floor waiting room. The relatives moved to the 3rd floor waiting room. So there was a magic circle on the door to the 3rd floor waiting room, and that door was locked? Yes. Inside the room, Goda's corpse was discovered. The room was a closed room, one that satisfied Beatrice's closed room definition. You're starting to sound like a broken record there, ma'am. Goda was in possession of one master key. The relatives collected this. And like up until now, a Western envelope with the family seal was discovered. Hi, Pinkerdini. Hi, Luna. How are you? Inside of which was the key to the 2nd floor VIP room. The relatives moved to the 2nd floor VIP room. What's going on here? What are you planning? It's Guild War Day so bad, fair enough. I decided not to stream Guild Wars this time, but I'm still playing it on the side. There's no need to glare, is there? It may be a closed room, but there are still multiple master keys that can open it, correct? And besides the master keys, I've even given you keys specific to each room. I don't like where this is going. It's okay, Battler. Probably. But I'm starting to see how it'll turn out. So it continues like this for all 6 people? Yes, that is correct. Inside the second floor VIP room, Genji's corpse was discovered. 1 master key was collected. The key to the underground boiler room was discovered. They moved to the underground boiler room. Inside the underground boiler room, Kinzo's corpse was discovered. The key to the chapel was discovered. They moved to the chapel. Inside the chapel, Kanon's corpse was discovered. 1 master key was collected. The key to the first floor parlor was discovered. With this, our reconstruction of how all 6 corpses were discovered is complete. An addendum. Along with the key to the chapel, a letter was enclosed in the western envelope found near Kinzo's corpse. The contents of the letter were as you saw. It further urged the relatives to solve the riddle of the epitaph. In that case, what's going on? The last place... if the last place where Canon-kun was had the key to the very first room, the parlor where Shan-chan was, that makes 6 closed rooms all tied together, right? That is correct. The 6 closed rooms are all connected. The keys to unlock each one are all shut up inside the next room. In other words, the 6 closed rooms form one massive closed room. And all of the master keys, as well as the individual room keys, are shut up inside it. Furthermore, all of the doors and windows on the 6 rooms are normal. No device exists which can lock them without a key, such as an auto lock. What do you think? It's beautiful, isn't it? Once again, milady, that is not dignified. When Romanov rebuked her, Mieto stuck her tongue out at him without showing any signs of shame. Wow. What a kid. Sorry. Playing with Battler just puts me in such a good mood. So, Battler, what do you think of my move? If you can't think of anything in particular, I wouldn't mind showing you how I made the goats carry the corpses and seal all of the rooms with magic, okay? Do what you want. I'll listen respectfully to this magic theory that you claim is true. However, I can claim my human theory, even though it's completely different from yours, without any interference from your claim. In other words, there's no need for me to pay attention to your bullshit. Go ahead and show me how you can lock the door with your multicolored magic simply by waving your magic staff. Just like those guys with their toad oil and all-purpose kitchen knives. Apparently all-purpose kitchen knives are a scam. Cordelia, let's reconstruct the crime scene. Search for a weakness. Were they all definitely dead? If one of them is just plain dead, that isn't a closed room at all. Nanjo confirmed that all of them were dead. However, due to the devil's proof, it is impossible to deny the possibility of a wrong diagnosis. In other words, that child cannot make the likelihood that Nanjo overlooked them being alive equal to 0. Here it is, that devil's proof. I sure do love their devil's proof. But there exists a sword that can carve that up. What's up with them? Looks like they're having a good time leaving me out of the discussion. I'm his opponent, am I not? Doesn't he have any time to spare for me? Fundamentally speaking, communication with one's opponent is not necessary to the act of competing in chess. Every time you've communicated with him outside of making your moves, you've used that opportunity to confuse him. Perhaps this is the result of him not wanting to be led astray. For some reason, I don't like it. You are challenging him to a chess match, are you not? That's true, but... Beatrice puffed out her cheeks as though to say, I don't know why, but I don't like it. Because the police have not yet arrived at the crime scene, the human side's ability to inspect the scene is limited. For a strict confirmation of death, I recommend that you have that child repeated in red. Okay, that's where I'll strike. Repeat it! The 6 victims are all dead. The lady, he has told you to repeat something in red, has he not? Hey, enough lazing around! Do you refuse to repeat it? This is where our battle starts. What? Ow, 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 ow! So sorry, that's fine, I'll answer. These 6 are all dead. Kinzo, Genji, Shanan, Kanon, Goda, and Kumasawa. Why are you so out of it? Okay, so I've already got 1 out of you. We'll start by denying that classic trick where the victims are playing dead. I won't go easy on you anymore. Come at me how you like. I'll slice them slantways, one after another. Then repeat this. No one is hiding in any of the 6 rooms. Let's see you deny the existence of people we aren't aware of. I'll answer. There is no one hiding in the 6 rooms. Okay. Now I'm sure it's only the 6 of them in the cave. And they aren't pretending to be dead. What will you do? What will you do? As if a human could manage anything by now. Obediently kneel to the fact that I can control locks at will with my wonderful magic, okay? Quit babbling. Repeat this too. The 6 deaths were instant deaths. Instant deaths? Oh, what do you mean by that? It means there's a possibility that a single victim on the verge of death managed to escape into the room. And after locking it from the inside to create a closed room, they passed away. A classic closed room murder trick. One requiring that the victim receive a fatal wound and then die later. It's possible for a closed room to be constructed unexpectedly if the victim pulls up inside the room to escape the murder room, and then dies after locking the door. In order to deny that possibility, you will need to proclaim that the 6 died instantly with the red truth. Very well, I'll slay you with my red treasured sword. The 6 died instantly. By died instantly, I mean the targets instantly became incapable of action after being attacked. Well, it might still have taken them several seconds or minutes to die in the complete sense of the word. But regardless, it was completely impossible for them to take any actions of their own will. In that sense, I can confirm that they suffered instant deaths. Up until this point, I've just been checking for the classic tricks. Now, knows when our showdown over the closed rooms really starts, okay? If the culprit isn't on the inside, they're on the outside. So they somehow killed from outside the room. Have you lost your mind? After all, a closed room equals murder isn't possible from the outside, right? That's why only a magical murder would be possible. No, that's wrong. The right approach is a murder really happened equals it isn't a closed room. No matter how much you try to trick me, this definitely isn't a closed room. It's a sham that only looks like one. However, Battler-sama, only the victims are inside the rooms, and no other people exist inside the rooms. And by Milady's closed room definition, remote murders from outside the room have been clearly denied, have they not? Wait. The definition of remote murders is pretty broad, right? It's not just about pulling a fishing line from outside the room and strangling the victim inside. For example, a trap would make for an excellent remote murder. A trap? Oh, and what might that be? Just as an example, let's say they were instructed to enter rooms that someone had picked out beforehand, and lock the doors from the inside to create the closed room themselves. A trap was set up in those rooms that they didn't know about. And that's what killed them. How's that? That doesn't contradict anything. There are no problems. It corresponds to the existing state. There are no problems on our side either. It does not conflict with Milady's closed room definition. What's with that stupid reasoning? Nothing suspicious was found in any of the rooms, right? What form did that trap have? Where was it hidden, and how did it operate? Explain that for all 6 of them. In the parlor, the guest room, the waiting room, the VIP room, the boiler room, and the chapel. Well, you can't, can you? I refuse to counter that. There's no need for me to explain. And failing to do so doesn't damage my claim. What did you say? Battler's getting real good at this. Jade a happy camper. Beatrice, it's a devil's proof. The fact that he cannot explain the nature of the trap does not in itself deny the existence of such a trap. Well done. While overbearing, a wonderful move. This guy's gotten completely used to this. Check. Due to murder trap X that we couldn't find, it'd be possible to establish this closed room murder. I'll kill that check with the red shroom. The 6 were not killed by traps. And the definition of a trap? Oh, that's it. Something that activates when a victim triggers it on their own. Oh, and that's not all. It also includes things activated by remote control or by a timer. Everything of that sort. to all arrangements that could carry out a murder without the direct participation of the one who planned it out. Perhaps we might sum it up that way. How's that? I'm struck back! As if I'd let a human crush this closed room. You're getting desperate, Beatrice. You're looking pretty frantic to win, too. What? What do you mean? You're frantically fighting to make me accept your existence. Until now, I thought I was just being toyed around with you one-sidedly. But that's not actually true. You're also frantically resisting my counters, fighting to show that you exist. Now, I finally feel that it's true. This isn't torture inflicted on me over whether I'll surrender or not. This is a fight between you and me on even footing. Okay, now it's starting to get interesting, isn't it? All 6 died in closed rooms and no outsiders were inside. And there was no meddling from the outside, and also no traps. Up until now, I'd probably start suspecting that this had to be the work of magic. And if you decide to show off some bizarre magic at this moment, I might even have surrendered. It's that favorite strategy of yours. You intercept all my moves, and in the moment I've exhausted all options and fallen to my knees. When my heart's barriers are at their weakest, you show off some strange magic and take the game all at once. That short temper is something this child has always had, along with a bad habit of rushing things when victory is in sight. After all, milady cannot stand putting off a match. Hey, shut up! Shut up! It's Battler's turn, right? I finished off that trap piece you advanced. What should I repeat next? Show me what you've got. Great! Now that even traps have been defeated, this looks like a perfectly closed room murder at a glance. That's why I'll spin the chessboard around right now. Hey! It's been a while since we've heard that. Remember the rules. If they spin the chessboard, we gotta put $1 in our savings. Here it comes, that special technique of yours. How exactly are you going to spin what around? Try showing me. Yeah, I'll show you. I don't need to think of how 6 people could be killed inside closed rooms from the outside. It's useless, it's useless, it's all useless. That's right, the question isn't how you can kill from outside the rooms. The point is how they died inside the rooms, making them closed rooms. That's it. This is the answer. If you assume that one of the 6 victims was the culprit, this closed room can be explained extremely easily. What? Ridiculous! I believe I clearly said in red that the 6 of them were dead. Oh, there were 6 deaths. 5 were victims who got killed. But if you assume that the other person committed suicide, you can destroy this closed room. Certainly. If the culprit locked themselves in the final closed room, this closed room chain would be established. The suicide of the culprit. Normally, it would be an unthinkable move. But the argument that the unthinkable cannot exist cannot be used. And he has no responsibility to demonstrate a motive. A truly powerful move, which can only be used in a chess match against a witch. Well, one cannot be certain that there was no motive. For example, it has been announced that Kinzo only had a short time left to live. Perhaps he did not regret losing his short remaining life and used his own death to send a message. It might be possible to attach such a motive. Milady, it's our turn. Indeed. To think you trample even the dignity of the dead to create a culprit. What a heartless, cold-blooded man. I'll set up the dead as culprits. This worse than the inhuman move is one you used to attack Kanokun in the last game. Even though the games are different, I'm taking a shot back at you with this move. As a tribute to Kanokun for that time. Just now, I freed Kanokun from his regrets. Try to confirm that suicide wasn't the cause of any of their deaths. I recommend that you have that child repeat it in red. Right. But suicide's a naive word that won't corner her. Beato, this'll stop you. Repeat it. The 6 deaths were all homicides. That is painful. What's wrong? All 6 of them were killed, right? I'm just confirming that simple premise we've had from the very beginning, right? Can't you repeat it? I refuse to repeat it. There's no reason in particular. You realize that refusing to repeat this part is the same as resigning, right? Checkmate! One of the 6 was the culprit, and they planned to commit suicide after constructing the closed room. That's all. Wait! No, I'll say it. I'll use the red like you want. None of the 6 committed suicide. How's that? Are you satisfied? I've struck back! Oh, so you can say it. But that's strange. Why are you so panicky? It's your imagination. This time, even I'm feeling the pressure. That's right. I don't have any leeway. Pay it no mind. The line you asked that child to repeat has been altered. Do not be fooled. Ah! Seems not to have worked, milady. That's right! She didn't say the 6 deaths were all homicides. She changed it to none of the 6 committed suicide. Which means one of them wasn't killed by someone else and didn't commit suicide. Ah, I've got it! This is the truth! Culprit X was hidden among the 6, murdered the other 5, and then set up a closed room. After that, they planned to escape from or hide in that room by some method. However, they got in an accident. The culprit died from an accident that even they hadn't expected, setting up a closed room murder that even they hadn't desired. Now it's over, Beatrice. Checkmate! Slam it! You think I'd be cornered by something like that? Maybe. Hi, Nexon. Thank you for the care package. I'd never announce my resignation over something like that. I'll slice up that foolish checkmate with my red treasured sword over and over again. None of the 6 died in accidental... Magoo? My apologies. We request some time to strategize. Please allow us a brief postponement on this matter. It's a fair request. Perhaps you should accept it. Sure, take a break. I've been given those a lot lately. Now it's your turn to take one. Thank you very much. Come, lady, this way. And let us quietly count to 100 inside our heads. Ronov quickly covered Vieto's mouth with his hand as she grew thoroughly panicked and agitated, suspending the game. He pulled Bieto away, supposedly to hold a strategy conference. I'm good. I hope you're doing well. Damn. That demon butler. When Bieto got all hot, I had a perfect chance to corner her. Bieto normally acted like she was graceful and above it all, but she actually had a really short temper and got mad easily. Her usual intellect had less of a voice when she got excited. Ronov certainly is thinking clearly. He probably gave your opponent some time to cool down. That child grew too stubborn, trying to remove your check. I was about to easily let several large pieces go. After all, the first Twilight is only a skirmish. The correct move at that time would have been to withdraw. So what does it mean? Did I reach checkmate, or didn't I? That child was about to say something in red. You probably wouldn't have reached checkmate yet. But most likely, you can expect our opponents to resign once they've cooled their head. Had the legendary 15-minute nap. Oh, the ones that's never actually 15 minutes. You're joking. Even though she hates losing that much? Well, I mean, if it gets to that point, yes. In a losing battle, it's essential to withdraw your troops as soon as possible to try and minimize your losses. The difficult part is gauging whether it's a losing battle or not. Your opponent's butler seems to have calmly made that decision. Oh well. In other words, she managed to escape by a hair's breadth. Getting checkmate and delivering the final blow won't be that easy for me. However, you should count this as your victory. It seems they barely managed to prevent a large loss, but they certainly sustained considerable damage. The scale of that child's panic ought to make the depths of that wound quite clear to you. Seriously? But it's 2 a.m. RIP. Rest in peace, your sleep schedule. If you're lucky, you might fall back asleep at like 4 a.m. or something. As we talked, Ronov returned with Bieto, who wore a meek expression. She didn't yet have her usual bold smile, but it looked like the blood wasn't rushing to her head anymore. Hey! It's your turn. Did you decide on your next move? I resign. For now, I will let you have your victory. Bieto told me that frankly. It seems she'd taken a far-sighted view, as though saying, if you want to laugh, then laugh. It was a bit of a killjoy, and I lost my desire to deliver the final blow. Well, now that you've resigned, that just means we're even, since my theory and yours can't deny each other. You should treat it more like a tie than a loss. I don't need your disgusting sympathy. I'm telling you that I lost this round. When you find a dog drenched with rain, do you have a sudden urge to whack it with a stick or something? Damn. Nope. It's very much like Beatrice to lose and then say it's a tie. It would be, except it's Battler who suggested that it's less of a loss and more of a tie. And she's like, screw you, I don't need your sympathy. I don't need a consolation prize. Nope, I'm not you. Even though she ridiculed me horribly when I showed signs of defeat, this is the best she's got when the tables are turned. I did feel that was pretty cowardly of her, but I decided to act with dignity as the victor and let it slide. Bieto resigned. That's the one result of the first Twilight. Beatrice couldn't counter my move of one of the 6 was the culprit. And that person died in an accident. No, she probably could have countered it. But for some strategic reason, she admitted defeat. It felt less like I'd won, and more like I'd let her slip away at the last second. In a chess match with a witch, battles can't be fought solely with pieces known as X, which require no detailed explanations. Thanks to the devil's proof, I could create as many strange fictions as I wanted and use them as fighters in our argument. Hang on, I'm gonna sneeze. There we go. The rare time I actually managed to hit the mute button. Bless you, thank you. But that only works in a chess match with a witch. In our human world, you can't use such abstract theories to explain things. This first twilight was a chain of 6 closed rooms. Have a nice morning, afternoon, night. Okay, Mexan, take care. It certainly may have been possible for a human. Beato wasn't able to deny all possibilities. However, I don't have a clue who committed the crime, or why, or how they actually did it. It may seem strange to hear me saying this after I won, but for some reason, I feel like I'd have been more satisfied if Beato had been able to say definitively that it was impossible for humans. I managed to avoid specifics using an abstract piece called X, but I couldn't deny the sense that some eerie intent that must never be known was filling up this entire mansion. Dun dun dun. 9 a.m. When being besieged, your true enemy isn't so much the fear of an unseen culprit, as it is keeping such fears alive for long periods of time. Maria got bored and started complaining that she wanted to watch TV. There was no TV in the lobby, so she decided to return to the cousin's room on the 2nd floor. The adults probably wanted to make sure Maria wasn't left on her own. They told all the children to go to the 2nd floor cousin room. George, who was grief-stricken by the loss of his fiancée, led the cousins up to the 2nd floor without any resistance. At first, Nanjo had been reading a book in the lobby, but when he noticed the relatives looking like they wanted to discuss something sinister, he said, "It seems I am in the way," and returned to his room on the 2nd floor. I'm starving. And if we just keep sitting around, we'll get sleepy too. It's only natural. We didn't get any sleep at all last night. We will probably end up being barricaded here for a full 24 hours. It'd be wiser to take naps in turns instead of overstressing ourselves. True, my husband and I will remain here, so I ask that anyone having trouble staying awake take it easy and rest. Our opponent might be expecting that, right? Even if they couldn't defeat this many people, if that number shrinks enough, they may plan to use that moment to strike. There are 7 of us here, so we could take 3-hour shifts in pairs. Tomorrow morning's a long way off. We still have some energy now, but tonight's going to be tough. Sure will. Anyone sleepy? Don't overdo it and get some rest. Hideyoshi looked around at everyone. Oh. Who wanted to sleep first, but no one volunteered. Nobody? Well, don't overdo it, everyone. Whoops. I accidentally turned on the Angies. But that's fine. Beatrice had sent them 2 letters, which had repeatedly told them to solve the riddle of the epitaph. And she'd even provoked them by saying she'd give up her assets and the headship if they could solve it. Ava took out a notebook and opened it to a page with the epitaph copied onto it. Is this that epitaph? Yes. I hate doing what the culprit says, but we do have time to waste. I think it's the perfect way to starve off boredom. Not a bad way to kill time. Why don't we challenge it together as siblings? Can I borrow that? I'll rewrite it just a little larger. Natsuhi-san, do you have a slightly larger piece of paper? There should be paper in the servant room. I will bring some. Natsuhi immediately brought a blank B4 sheet of paper from the servant room. So, the equivalent of an A4 sheet. In Japan, they have, their ratio of their paper is more like a square than a rectangle. Kirie borrowed Ava's notebook, wrote out the epitaph on the paper, and laid it out on the table. Then everyone quickly peered down at it. They automatically formed a crowd. I've heard about it, but really, this is a tough riddle. I don't have a clue what it's talking about. At one point, I also did my best to solve it, but I was just as clueless. If you did know, you wouldn't have come all the way out here with a plan to make money. After all, it's 10 tons of gold we're talking about. This is the first time I read through it seriously, but roughly speaking, couldn't it be split into 3 parts? I've been thinking this since last night, but you really are a good thinker, Kirie-san. Perhaps you'll be able to easily solve this riddle that we couldn't. Yeah, Kirie's sharp. She might find a more interesting take on it if she comes in without any confusing biases. That's right. Kirie-san, would you mind giving us your honest opinion after reading? I doubt you'll find it useful. You all give me too much credit. That's fine, just say whatever comes into your head. Let's hear your thoughts. The hints you give always help me out when I'm worried. Oh, so I have been helpful. It's nice to finally hear about this now. Come on, don't I always thank you? You sure are close. I'm jealous. And the rest of us would also love to hear these hints of yours. We're just killing time anyway, so relax, okay? Kirie was disturbed at being praised so highly for something so strange. They had all the time in the world. I'm weirded out by the pattern on Kirie's dress. Oh, the cutouts, yeah. It's an interesting design choice. I didn't even realize they were cutouts. I thought they were just like a pattern, but apparently they're cutouts. Realizing that this was just a way to waste time, she decided to accept the role she'd been given. I'm sure I'll say something off the mark, but, well, I'll put forward my ideas. Indeed. What did you mean in the beginning about how it could be divided into 3 parts, roughly speaking? Oh god, not the white text on top of red text on top of black. Well, I just mean what I said. I think that overall, the epitaph can be divided into 3 sections. This is so hard on the eyes. Who decided on this? Bruh. For First, there are 5 lines up until there sleeps the key to the golds. Up until this point is the first part, which directs you to the location of the key. Okay, the purple helps a little bit, but just barely. Barely. Error message, error. Yeah. And then this part formed by the 11 lines up to the 10th twilight, which refers to the location of the Golden Land itself. And the remaining 6 lines make up the part about the after the Golden Land has been reached. Oh god, my eyes. By clicking system tips so you can read it at any time. I think at this point we have it memorized. Or at least the gist of it. We've seen that thing so many times now. I see. It can be divided into 3 parts about the key, the Golden Land, and the Golden Land's treasure. Did y'all never figure this out until now? Y'all stupid. Even we have been able to grasp that much. Oh, good. The 3 sections that refer to the key, the door, and the treasure. Isan, don't butt in any more than you have to. Let Kirie-san speak her ideas freely. Kirie, please continue. We see it the same way you do so far. So then? I wonder about the meaning of that thing in the beginning, the beloved hometown. Normally, that would refer to where grandfather lived, right? Since father went to all the trouble of telling us that it's beloved, we can imagine that it's a hometown he had strong feelings for. Did father come from Odawara? Odawara is definitely where he was born, but I don't think that's the hometown he loved. I imagine all of us siblings have the same place in mind. Right. This probably isn't Odawara. From what I've heard, he had a very fun time as a youth. Being made the Ushio family head was probably Dad's greatest bit of misfortune in life. Probably. Father did actually want to become the head. So where is this place? Is there a river there where sweet fish swim? Maybe there was at the time. There's been a lot of development there since then, and the sweet fish might have disappeared. It would be extremely difficult to investigate whether sweet fish were there during grandfather's boyhood years. And there probably isn't just a single river. Blah, blah. I believe we all gave this a thorough investigation geographically. We even went to the actual place to investigate directly, right, Ava? That was only as a vacation. But the townscape had changed completely since Father's time. After all, it was caught up in that war, wasn't it? By now, even precisely locating the place Father lived is impossible. I imagine that if Father went there himself now, even he wouldn't be able to pick out the place he lived anymore. Well, after all, those guys had also gone through a remarkable recovery. Does that part about a Sweetfish River bring any place name clearly to mind? Well, yeah, after all, they're sweetfish, right? People say they live in rivers with clean water, so there are countless rivers that might work. Any stream Dad innocently went sweet fish fishing. Blah, I cannot speak. It was probably buried by the development later. It'd be different if we had a map from before the war, or a person who knew a lot about how the area was before the war, but it probably isn't something like that. What do you mean? Behold the Sweetfish River running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the Golden Land follow its path downstream in search of the key. After these 2 lines, there's a single blank line. Something is being presented with just these 2 lines. What if the next 3 lines continue based upon that something? What do you mean something is being presented? I don't know. At any rate, what we can get from these 2 lines alone is it's something vague, like the question of which river it might be, but the clear presentation of the keyword river. It may be that this isn't a river with water flowing down it. The Sweetfish River might be some kind of metaphor. What sort of impression does the word sweetfish give? Sweetfish are like salmon. They're freshwater fish, but they go out into the ocean right after they're born. When they get big, they go back to the river to live there. And then they spawn there and end their lives there. Well, they leave their home at one point, but when they get big, they come back and lay eggs. Might be able to link that to the idea of clan prosperity. Oh? They're freshwater fish, but they can live in the ocean? I didn't know that. I figured river fish would be able to live in the sea. You are so dumb. Everyone knows about salmon. And they are called sweet fish because they have a pleasant aroma. I have never eaten one, but I have heard they can be quite delicious when grilled with salt. What's that, Nasi? Son, you've never eaten salt grilled sweet fish? They're delicious. You should try it sometime soon. It is a food for commoners, hardly appropriate for your mouth. Wow. This is just my wild idea, but the impression I get from a Sweetfish River makes me suspect a family tree. The Sweetfish go out into the ocean for a time, but they return to the river where they were born to spawn, right? It reminds me of myself. You're right. By this point, I can confess that I've sometimes suspected that it refers to you and Maria-chan. Really? I see. As you travel down the river, you will see a village. If you go down the family tree, all you find is Maria's name. Yeah, the second kanji in Maria's name is village. It's true, village, and the last one is like just a placeholder that doesn't really mean anything. It's just there for phonetics. Only her name has a ri, read ri or sato, the character father uses for village here. Yeah, because furu sato, which is like, you know, hometown, I don't think it uses that same ri kanji. It uses a different one, if I remember right. Furu sato. Yeah. Hometown doesn't use the kanji for village or town. Like, it is the kanji for hometown. Like, it is a kanji for town, but it's not this one that's being used in her name. Some alternative forms use that kanji, but it's not the most common one. Isn't that right? But as you all know, Father doesn't like Maria, and he almost never speaks with her. And in the past, Father told me to give Maria a completely different name. I just decided to go with Maria on my own. Father was very mad about that. Given that, it's very hard to imagine that he would reference Maria's name in his precious epitaph about who would succeed his wealth and inheritance. Have you ever let Maria-chan read it? Yes, of course. But she seemed to have no idea what the answer was. She did have a clue, as she kept going on about the same occult stuff, about how it was a resurrection ceremony for the witch. A connection between Father and Maria. Certainly, they do share that occult hobby, but they never interacted. I can't imagine that it refers to Maria either. It's kind of weird that he hated the name Maria so much. He wanted her to change it. Like, I wonder why. Like, it's still a very much Western name, but... What sticks out to me is how he went out of his way to add beloved to that first line. Like you all said just now, if Father was reluctant about becoming the Ushinomiya family head, would he have fond memories for anything connected to that? I don't think this can be Odawara, which represents the Ushinomiya head family. I believe this word beloved here at the beginning must refer to a place full of very important memories to Father. Well, that's fine. It would be hard to pinpoint since we don't even have a trace of a map from that time. But at any rate, there were probably several rivers where sweet fish swimming in them near Dad's hometown during his route. Hi, Lambda! That's if we're looking for a river with water flowing down it, right? And then... Go on, Kirie-san. I don't really understand the 3 lines starting with as you travel down it, you will see a village. It's probably linked to the 2 lines about the Sweet Fish River. I imagine it's something we'd understand automatically if we knew what the Sweet Fish River really was. Until we figure it out, it's probably useless to try and solve these 3 lines further. So we're stuck unless we know what the Sweet Fish River really is. And there's no guarantee it even means a literal river. Oh, seriously, what's up with the sweet fish? Did Dad like to eat them? Or does it have some special meaning? Is it pointless to read too deeply into it? If you don't have both a micro and a macro perspective, your field of vision grows narrow. It might be better to be flexible and avoid thinking too deeply, focusing on an abstract image of a river where fish swim or something that can flow up or down. Then the answer behind the Sweet Fish River passes through the next 3 lines and makes its way to the key to the Golden Land. If you think about it this way, I wonder if it was a mistake to split it into 3 parts. There's actually 4 parts. Go down the Sweet Fish River, find the key to the Golden Land, journey to the Golden Land, and the treasure of the Golden Land. Truly intriguing. Bless you, -1 hour ago. Hi, Art. How are you? I know you weren't feeling well. Hopefully you had a chance to have a nap or something. Well, you've gone this far. Would you mind continuing and telling us your opinion on the most central portion of the epitaph? Just got out of class? Oh, go home and go to bed. I'm glad you at least managed to have a little bit of a nap, but yeah. Go home, rest, take care of yourself. Get a warm drink. Or at least some water. If you don't like warm drinks, at least some water. Help your body flush all that stuff out. Well, you've gone this far. Would you mind continuing and telling us your opinion on the most central portion of the epitaph? Up to the point where we reach the Golden Land on the 10th Twilights. That's the most symbolic, and also the most disturbing part. You gotta traumatize your friend before you sleep. Oh no. Who needs friends when you've got friends like this? Since the word sacrifice keeps coming up, I can't help but think it has something to do with Father's occult ceremonies. How do you see it, Kirei-san? Kirei recrossed her arms several times, peering into the paper with the epitaph copied onto it as though she was looking through it. This is very difficult. It starts with the one who obtains the key, so you probably won't be able to continue without knowing what the key means. I'll have to give up on that, but I'll take a shot at trying to solve it anyway. Just like how the Sweetfish River isn't necessarily a river with water flowing down it, it's also doubtful that this key is actually something shaped like a key. Right. It might also be a code or a keyword. Probably take a nap on the ride home too. Ooh. Man. I'd be too scared to nap in like a ride-share car, but power to you. After all, this key isn't something to be stuck into a keyhole. It's something that selects 6 people to be sacrifices for the first twilight. In that sense, we can say for sure that this key isn't being used to open the door to the Golden Land. But what a disturbing key it is. A key that can choose 6 human sacrifices. How would a key select anything? But after a few accidental times I'm all Gouda? I mean also? You're male? I'm not. It's a very different world. Not that as a dude you can't be killed in a rideshare thing, but it's much more likely for something bad to happen to you. Someone who was assigned female at birth or looks like a woman. How would a key select anything? Do you spin it like a roulette? 100%? Sorry, I forgot. Oh, it's fine. I was just speaking, like, generally. It's fun to see the siblings pulling together like this. The one time they actually get along, which is crazy. Because apparently they've never gone along, like, in their whole lives. But now they're like, well, we're stuck in here. We're sleep deprived. We're crazy. It's time to go. Do you spin it like a roulette? This key indicates a certain group of 6 people. No, we should say it indicates a certain group of 6 things. This doesn't mean a literal command to offer sacrifices. For example, it could be an anagram. An anagram? An anagram? What kind of anagram are we talking about here? We'll keep you safe, DD. Aw, thank you. Pocket Moonbeam security team, I love it. Danger happens, moonbeams start popping out like popcorn. Just imagining this car filling up with tiny creatures. Just like how you had to pocket me as an auto calculator. Exactly! I've been thinking about it ever since Rosa started talking about the family tree and about how village was a part of Maria-chan's name. It seems that ever since the words beloved hometown came up, Rudolph, for example, has assumed that this epitaph points to some coordinates or some other geographical feature. But that might not be the case. This could be some kind of puzzle, or maybe playing with letters. Forgive me, but how does one play with letters? Oh, well, it's like suck-a-mary barrels. What do you get when you take out the E's and R's like that? could suck my balls. Rudolph! Took me like a moment to take out all the letters, and then I was like, no. As soon as I saw that sucker become suck, I'm like, no. No, I know where this is going. Well, you were raised well, Nasuhi-san, so you probably don't know. Mary? Take out the E's and R's, huh? Huh? Stop it. It is an undignified game, inappropriate for you. Only Nasuhi didn't get it and had a blank look on her face. I caught a glimpse of Miss Ellis. Hello! Stop staring at people's phones, you weirdo! Mind your own P's and Q's, people! That was always my thing, too. Like, if someone sees something they shouldn't, it's like, well, why were you looking that close? Like, if you truly just happened to glance at the phone, you wouldn't have been able to tell what's on my phone. The fact that you know it was something inappropriate or, like, whatever, then yeah, you were looking way too close. That was like, oh, what was it? I was at like a day camp when I was like 10-ish. And I was wearing a skirt, but I had like shorts underneath, right? And like some guy was telling me, it's like, oh, don't sit like that. I can see like all the way up to your shorts. And I'm like, why the fuck are you looking up there anyway? It shouldn't matter how I sit as if you're not looking inappropriately. And the counselors agreed with me. They were like, okay, even if it was an accident, you shouldn't say anything like. It seemed she'd only guessed that the answer had to be something undignified, going by Rudolph and Ava's Snickers. Snickers? It's Snickers, but whatever. Nasuhine-san, it's something like this. This is just something from Maria's book of riddles, okay? There's this thing called a tanuki notebook. It's a notebook written like a code with lots of tas mixed in. And if you remove all of the tas, then the true paragraph pops up. It's a game like that. Ah, oh, I see. She finally figured it out. Now, so he finally realized the answer to the undignified riddle Rudolph had posed, and her face grew red as she hung her head in embarrassment. So, maybe kill actually means remove? In that sense, right? Yes. I also thought that. It's possible that the key to the Golden Land is a word with 6 characters. In other words, the ta from the Tanuki notebook is actually 6 characters here? This is getting complicated. They're either on the right path or they are completely overthinking this. It's like one or the other. Playing with letters, is it? In Japan, it really feels like a child's game. But it's apparently a stylish form of humor among intellectuals in the English world. It is easy to imagine that father was interested in it. But by this point, I quickly lose my ability to understand it. Up until this part, it may have been filled with mysteries, but it was extremely sequential. Sweetfish River, go down it, then find the key. All of that is extremely sequential. And as a result, we can guess that we gain a 6-character key. But in that case, we don't know what we kill the 6 characters from. That's right. Where do we pull the 6 characters from? It doesn't tell us. On the second twilight, there are those who remain, which means that at the very least, that something has a limited number of characters. After the first 6 characters are removed. And yet, we don't know what that something is, even though it should have been shown to us at the beginning. Are we wrong, even in our assumption that this is playing with letters? I am on a break. Yes, I'm still at work. Oof, rip. Everyone crossed their arms and fell silent. It felt like they were about to reach a novel understanding that they hadn't managed before, but they stumbled one step short. Then Hideyoshi's stomach rumbled heartily. Oh, really? Is that what that is? That boing sound? Never knew her stomach could sound like that. Then Hideyoshi's stomach rumbled heartily. The silence was broken by laughter. Sorry. Strangely enough, by spinning the gears in my head for a change, my stomach's gone completely empty. Looks like I can't stand missing breakfast. Natsuhi? Isn't there anything to eat here? There should at least be enough set aside for breakfast. I will prepare it. I'm also starving, and I'll bet those drats above us are the same. Still, I doubt there's enough for 18 people, much less a full 3 meals, right? That's right. It'll be a long journey till tomorrow. Maybe we'd better take a trip back to the mansion and fish around for some canned goods or something in the kitchen. There's nothing more than crackers and snacks here, but if that will be sufficient, I can get them ready for you all. But with this many people, there might not be any left for lunch. That will do for now. Would you mind getting those ready? It looked like the men had been taken over with an appetite that stopped all thought. The atmosphere grew more peaceful, and the Epitaph investigation team split up for the time being. But Ava kept staring at the paper the epitaph was written on, like she was going to burn a hole through it. Playing around with letters was nothing more than a theory of mine. There's a chance it's mistaken. Ava-san, don't take it too seriously, okay? Thank you. I'll just keep doing this on my own. Would you mind leaving me alone? Ava spoke coldly. Kirie didn't bother her anymore, and instead went to help Natsuki prepare breakfast. Nei-san, shouldn't we also help prepare breakfast? Then you go help. I'm busy solving this. Sorry. Then I'll help. Good grief. How can you be like that? Huh? The Ushinomiya family headship will be given to the person who solves this. It looks like you've given up from the beginning, as if it had nothing to do with you. But if you can solve this, there's a chance even you'll be able to receive the headship. This is a chance to steal everything from Nissan. Why aren't you taking such a once-in-a-lifetime chance more seriously? Rosa hung her head, unsure as to how she should answer. Too late, she regretted carelessly speaking to her sister when she was in a bad mood. If you noticed anything, say so. Even though Kirie-san and I were thinking hard, you just kept nodding your head, didn't you? Come on. Isn't there anything you've noticed? Come on! Don't you think this part's strange? Strange? What is? It's just that this whole section's written like a journey to the Golden Land, right? You reach the Golden Land and then you receive its treasures. What's your point? You think there's some sort of keyword? No, not the treasures themselves. Look, in the 10th Twilight, is it how you receive the treasures strange? Huh? Ah. Why does it say we'll receive the treasures once and for the last time? If we only get them once, then there's no point telling us it's the last time. And the same thing in reverse. Oh, but I'm probably splitting hairs over nothing if you think about it. This is father we're talking about after all. He probably just said it that way to make it sound more dramatic. Dun dun! How are we doing so far? Good! I think this is probably the best place to wrap up for now. Dun 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 dun. Unfortunately, I gotta be up early to go to the apothecary. But we're making steady progress. So yes, we're slowly working on solving that epitaph. This whole chapter has been mostly focused on Ava, so I assume she's finally gonna make it. She's finally gonna solve it. But surely, nothing's gonna go well. We just know that. I somehow made it to the end of stream whilst at work. Sometimes that does. Sometimes that is how it goes. Alrighty, tomorrow, since Genshin Impact is updating to a new region tonight, we are gonna play Genshin tomorrow. Yay! Yay, 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 yay. I'm so excited. Been really looking forward to this new region. So we will play some of that tomorrow. See what's up. How many rolls do I have saved? I think I have enough to hit soft pity. So we'll try rolling for Loma, the deer waifu lady that you might have seen online somewhere. And we'll see how it goes. Wish me luck another hour probably. RIP. I believe in you. Alright. We're gonna go raid Sanamon Roll. They're playing Hollow Knight. Not Silk Song. OG Hollow Knight. Alrighty. So, here we go. Here is a raid. want to keep up with us when we are not streaming. For now, that's gonna be it for me. So, if it's daytime where you are, have a wonderful rest of your day. And if it's nighttime, pet Pep and Mogu, of course. And if it's nighttime, have a great rest when you head on off to bed. Until next time, take care of yourself. Wash your face, brush your teeth, eat good food. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.